What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to True Raider Podcast. Another TGI Raiders Friday live. Hold up real quick. I'm trying to turn off this air conditioner. It gets a little loud in here. It's getting hot up in this room, man. I had to put up the AC, get things straightened out, man. Um, yeah, so I was gonna go live like 2 hours ago. I had some things kind of move around, so I'm on right now, which that works out for me. Um, because this is usually our normal scheduled time, or at least the time that I'm trying to do on a regular basis, which is 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Uh, that would be noon Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, man. I'm just gonna try to share some things out real quick, man. Get things rolling. We got a couple of things to talk about today. A lot of the news that's been going out lately, man. You know how it is, man. It's the off season. There's, people are really kind of reaching for things. A little bit of drama, not anything too serious, man. Some of the same old, right? But I love the Las Vegas Raiders, man. I'm in it to win it, man. I'm in this till I die. You know, that's just what it is, man. Hold up, let me finish doing this real quick. Okay, take me a few more seconds. Um, let's get a shout out, man. Billy, man, you've been rocking it, dude. You've been rocking it. You're here all the time, man. Glad you're here, man. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you, man. Um, all right. So, real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to my wife, man. She got me. There we go. True Raider, man. She also got me a jersey. It says True Raider on the back. It has the 27 for the number, man. I'll be wearing that too, man. But yeah, man, shout out to my wife on that one, man. Big shout out, dude. It was my birthday on June 26th. It came a little bit late in the mail, that's perfectly fine with me, man. You know, it doesn't have to be on time. The older I get, the less my birthday is important, right? But really it's like, at this point, it's like, man, I survived, another rotation around the sun, which is, I watch a lot of my classmates, a lot of the people I grew up with, they're dying off, man. I'm 37 years old and there's a whole lot of us that aren't here anymore, man. So just grateful to be alive, man. Grateful to have some new, Raiders drip, man. I'm really pumped about that. So real quick, man, I want to talk about this thing that came up, and it's kind of one of those things that's again, right? But Josh Jacobs, man, says Packers Josh Jacobs slams Raiders culture, says losing played a factor in star running back leaving Las Vegas. You know, Josh Jacobs, man. It says Josh Jacobs was sick of losing, and that was one of the contributing factors in him leaving the Las Vegas Raiders this offseason. Jacobs, a two-time Pro Bowl running back and former rushing champion, spent his first 5 seasons with the Raiders before ultimately choosing to sign with the Packers in free agency this past offseason. Months after leaving them, Jacobs is finally shedding light on how big of a factor losing had on his decision to leave Las Vegas. That went into me leaving, Jacob said on the Green Light with Chris Long podcast in June. Coming from Alabama, I went to a championship every year I was there. I remember coming to the league and losing my first game, and I was mad and not talking to nobody. A vet came up to me and was like, "This is the NFL. You're going to lose." I'm like, "So y'all cool with losing?" It was so different. Then the most frustrating thing about it all, you've got me, Josh Jacobs, and Tay and Max Crosby. You've got guys who come in every day and work hard, and you don't get the results. You'll be close every year, but we're not winning. You want me to come back on a discount and lose? I don't know how I feel about that. See, and this isn't really like exactly breaking news or anything. I've heard, some of the things that Josh Jacobs has said like this already, man. And, this just kind of further compounds the deal with, with Josh Jacobs leaving to the Packers, man. I'm okay with it. I really liked Josh Jacobs a lot. I even have his jersey, which is basically worthless now, right? But yeah, man, the thing is, man, is that it sounds to me like he didn't really want to be here, right? It sounded to me like the only way that he would really want to be here is just to get that bag, and I get it, right? He wants to get paid, he wants to get that money, and that deal he got with the Packers isn't exactly great. It sounds to me actually like essentially a 1 year deal where he'll make more in that first year than he would have with the Raiders offer, but throughout the entire contract, it sounds to me like they can move on from him pretty quickly. So unless he goes over there in Green Bay and balls out and secures his spot there, they might just move on from him after a year, and then it's going to be difficult for him to actually get good contracts if that's the case. Now, Josh Jacobs is a good running back. I have a feeling he's going to do well over there. Um, I got no hate towards him, but really what it comes down to, man, is if he doesn't really want to be here, man, then that's his deal, man. And I don't want somebody to be here that doesn't really want to be here. And that's just where I stand, man. There's a couple other things that popped up, man, in the news recently. Let me get to that real quick, man. Actually, I'm gonna put on my headphones for this one, man. I finally got set up to where I can hear the videos that I'm sharing, man. Um, we'll see how this goes moving forward. But this is, I didn't even really want to put this on the thumbnail, man, because uh, this whole thing with Deion Sanders, Shadur Sanders, uh, you, I'm gonna play the video, man. You guys can give me your opinion on it, right? But it says Deion Sanders on Raiders drafting quarterback son. That would be nice. And this came from an interview that popped up. Vegas Sports Today shared it, right? It says there is already mock draft speculating that the Las Vegas Raiders will draft Colorado quarterback Shadur Sanders in the first round of the 2025 NFL draft. If that happens, and a lot needs to shake out in the next 9 months, count Sanders' father and head coach Deion Sanders being on board with the idea. That would be nice, Deion Sanders said at the Big 12 Conference Media Day, which was held at the Raiders' home Allegiant Stadium this week. Now, Deion Sanders, it's already known that he's been out there in the media talking about like, he wants to have a say on where his kids land up, on what teams and things like that. And I'm gonna play this video real quick, man.
Coach, you talked about potentially having 4 first-round draft picks this upcoming year. Yeah. Some very early draft projections have Shador coming right here to Las Vegas to play for the Raiders.
That'd be nice.
Just your thoughts on the city and the possibility of him coming.
I'm not a gambler, so I'm not with all that. But that'd be nice. He has a wonderful head coach, a wonderful president in this organization that I think I'm meeting today, actually, right? Yeah. So that'd be nice. I've been looking around the stadium.
Talk to us.
It's a nice stadium. It's nice.
Talk to us about Antonio Pierce. Obviously, you just mentioned him.
Great man, great leader. Earned the job. They didn't give him nothing. He earned the job. I love what he brings to the table. I don't want him to lose to the point where he has the ability to get Shador. Let's get that straight. Okay? I don't want that to happen. I really don't. But I wouldn't mind some kind of way it happens that he's here. I don't want that to happen.
Seeing where he says like, I wouldn't mind, and I don't want that to happen. He, what he's talking about is that he doesn't want the Raiders to lose enough games to where we're eligible to draft him, right? And he figures that Shadur Sanders is probably going to be, number 1 or maybe top 3 pick in this next draft. And I don't really know how that's all going to shake out. I've seen a lot of different, things talking about, what that might look like for next year. And I really haven't looked too much about the quarterbacks and stuff from next year because, we're not there yet, right? But this is interesting that this came up, and a lot of stuff went out there as if like, oh yeah, Deion Sanders is saying he wants, his kid to play for the Raiders and this and that, and that's not really what I gathered. What I heard was that'd be nice, right? And when he says that would be nice, that's not saying like, hey, this is where I want him to go. That's saying that would be nice. Now, let me pull this up real quick, man. I'm gonna share Shadur Sanders' stat line, right? And Shadur Sanders, I mean, I'm not gonna pretend like I know a ton about him, right? I've watched a little bit of tape, I've watched some highlights, things like that. And it looks to me like he's got some pretty decent pocket awareness. He's got some good mobility. He's got a good throw. This last season, he had 3,200 passing yards with 27 touchdowns versus 3 interceptions. Now, this isn't like outstanding numbers. It's the 2 years before where, he had 40 passing touchdowns with 3,700 yards versus 6 interceptions. And then the year before that, he had 3,200 yards with 30 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. So he's got a pretty good, touchdown to interception ratio. He did take a drop in 2023 with that 27 touchdowns instead of having 40 the year before. Now I've seen a lot of stuff that kind of projects him to be, going number one, and things like that. I've seen a lot of talk about that kind of stuff. I'm not really sure where that's going to land, man. I really don't know. We got a couple people that joined the building, man. My 2 cents. Salute, welcome, man. Champ. Hey, what's going on, man? 715. Welcome to the building, man. Welcome to the building. Um, yeah, man, but I don't really know how I feel about talking about what the quarterback situation is going to look like for next year. Now, what I do see is that like Deion Sanders was, approving of that. He said a lot of good things about Antonio Pierce, uh, you know, about him earning the job and it wasn't given to him, that he's a good coach. And it looks to me, that Deion Sanders has kind of hopped around from school to school to school. And he's either followed his kid or his kid has followed him. But, it looks like he's just been his kid's coach all the way through. And so I don't have any expectations that wouldn't be what moves forward. And I don't know if Deion Sanders is really gonna score an NFL head coaching gig, right? But I could see a situation where, you know, um, Deion Sanders ends up with some kind of coaching role. He'll end up on the staff of whatever team his ultimately drafts Shedeur Sanders, right? And so, you know, honestly, I don't think that we're going to be drafting very high. So for us to land somebody like a Shedeur Sanders, it would either have to be that he falls in the draft, and we're able to pick him up later in the first round, or we make some huge trade for him. Now, a lot of what happened this last draft was the teams that really needed quarterbacks got quarterbacks. So that was some of the conversation that happened right after the draft where we didn't end up getting one. And so it's like, okay, we're going to roll forward with Aiden O'Connell and Garner Minshew, and we'll look at a quarterback next year. Now, I think that even if Aiden O'Connell um, has a great year, I still think that we're going to end up drafting a quarterback. I don't know how high we're going to draft a quarterback or if we'll trade for one, right? Depending on how well Aiden O'Connell does. And, Devontae Adams in his many interviews over the last couple of days, he made it very clear that he believes Aiden O'Connell is going to win that job. Now, um, as far as our, trading for a quarterback, it might not be as difficult as it was this last season. We had an insane amount of quarterbacks go. I think what is it, 6 in the top 10 or something like that, or the top 12. I mean, it was just like this huge run on quarterbacks happened, and people weren't selling and getting into a quarterback this year. Just was. I mean, even the Falcons picked up Michael Penix Jr. when they went and paid Kirk Cousins all that money. So I have a feeling that getting up to a quarterback this year isn't going to be nearly as expensive or nearly as difficult. But if you're one of those teams that's drafting high enough to be able to get one of those top 5 picks, I mean, I'd say that would probably mean that something's going on with the quarterback room, and they might just want to pick up a quarterback. So I don't really know what that's going to look like for us, man. My 2 cents. Imagine the conversations about getting a new quarterback before Brady became TB12, 6th-round draft pick that sat upon entering the league. And that's just it, man. Is that like I think that there's a couple of these quarterbacks that have come in the later rounds that have really proven that you don't have to be a first round pick. You don't have to be a number one pick in order to be a good quarterback in this league. Champ, I'm excited for the season. I'm excited for the team. I'm excited for the nation. Let's go. I'm really trying to get a hold of some tickets, man. I got a friend from work that his aunt has some season tickets, and I'm trying to cop some tickets, man, for the Raiders Steelers game. Um, we're gonna see what that looks like, man. I really want to go. My wife is a Steelers fan, so that's the game that she wants to go to. I'd rather go watch us play the Broncos or one of our um somebody in our division, but she's a Steelers fan, so yeah, I'm willing to go check that out. Same with Gannon. I was unimpressed by inking Gannon, but he proved me wrong and won the day. And that's it, man. Is that like I don't think that Garner Minshew is going to be a Gannon, and there's been like a lot of talk about that. I've seen a lot of people mention that Gardner Minshew could be that journeyman and kind of bounce around from team to team and then land over here and it, really click with him. But like the more tape I've watched on Minshew, the less confidence I really have in the guy. Right now, he's one of those guys that, if you got to play him at quarterback, he's going to win some games. You're going to be somewhere around 500. He's not going to be the huge difference maker. Uh, I did see a lot of like strip sacks on him. I saw some weird turnovers that were very untimely. Like maybe he doesn't have a ton of interceptions, but they're very bad timing. So, and a lot of times like the stats don't reflect those kind of things. Like yeah, he didn't throw a ton of interceptions, whoever we're talking about, right? But the interceptions happened to be when the game was on the line, or they scored off of that and ended up losing because the other team scored off of it and things like that, man. Anthony, welcome to the building, man. Welcome to the building. What's going on, man? Again, happy belated birthday. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, my birthday was on June 26th, man. I got a package in the mail a little bit late, man. Ooh, I just lost my light. That was crazy. Oh, now it's super bright too, man. I don't know what happened, man. Okay, it looks like it's leveling out a little bit. Yeah, but I got my jersey, man. It's got the True Raider. And I got another one with the number 27 on it. It says True Raider on the back, man. Shout out to my wife, dude. I'm super excited about that, man. Let's see, Gardner Minshew is the Tajan of the NFL. He goes good on everything. Yeah, man. I mean, dude, Gardner Minshew, he's a good player, right? But he's not one of those huge difference makers. And I know that, with things like Rich Gannon and watching somebody come in and have an MVP season, that pretty much anybody can do it. But, I don't really think he's gonna be the guy, man. I really just don't, I really think that Aiden O'Connell is gonna be our guy moving forward. Um, and I'm starting to see that a lot of people are starting to look at it a little bit more. And there was this article that went out and it was talking about that like Aiden O'Connell deserves the position. And I really don't like the word deserves. I really believe that things are earned, not given. Um, often I was taught, growing up that if something is given to you, you're not going to appreciate it nearly as much as if you had to earn it. And that's true, man, and anything that's ever been given to me, man, like when I was younger, um, there was just, no real appreciation for it, right? But when I went out there and earned things and work my butt off to get it, it's like, for one, that means that nobody can take it from me. And for two, man, I know I have that confidence that's like, you know what, I own this. Like I was able to get that, and that kind of stuff really makes me happy, man. Um, this season, man, I'm so much more excited for this season than I can remember being in years, man. everything that I've seen about how things are stacking up, how things are shaking out, um, I'm thinking that that we're gonna hit the playoffs, man. Now there's this thing that came out about the OTAs and stuff about Jacorian Bennett, and I wanted to talk about that because I haven't talked about it yet, right? Where there's been a handful of interceptions. Gardner Minshew's been picked off. Aiden O'Connell's been picked off in training camp, right? And the light on that has been like, oh wow, Jacorian Bennett is getting these interceptions, in OTAs, and that's really amazing. I think that he's going to step up and do all these things, and I like that, and I want to believe that that's what's going on. But I remember last year when they were saying that that our DBs were getting interceptions against Jimmy Garoppolo, in OTAs and in training camp, right? And there was this like people were hyping up like, yeah, our defense and this and that, which was pretty true, right? But then what we also saw on the other end of that was that Jimmy Garoppolo was not that guy. That his arm was failing, he wasn't being able to deliver, and that worries me because is Jacorian Bennett getting these picks because he's just stepping up and he's playing well, or is he getting interceptions because our quarterbacks are just not getting it done? And that really worries me, man. True, you earn what's deserved, period. I think if you earn something, then it turns into deserve. But um I don't know, man. That's now that came out of my mouth, I feel like deserved just seems so like it has so much entitlement to it, right? Like I don't know, like this arrogance to it, right? And so like if you earn it, then I don't know if I could say if you earn you deserve, man. You get me confused, my 2 cents. Let's see. Hey man, you don't think AFC will be our QB1? I do think it was Aiden O'Connell will be our QB1. I really do, man. And like I said, I was hesitant to even put the thumbnail with Shador Sanders and all that because I don't even want to start talking about other quarterbacks and what's going on next year because we have our guys for this year and it's going to be what it's going to be. And sure, like I would love to be able to pick up a big name quarterback like that and see what it shakes out to. But even if we were to draft a first round quarterback next year, I still think that Antonio Pierce will put him to have competition in the offseason, right? Because that's what Antonio Pierce has done this entire offseason, man. It's like you see it at every position, everybody has some sort of competition. Our offensive line across the board has competition, you know. Our defensive line, we got guys that are pretty solidified in that on that line, but there's competition all the way through. We got good depth. We got good depth in our corners. Jacorian Bennett's not going to get handed the job. He's got to go off against Brandon Faison, right? It's just like all the way down. It's like there's competition, except for our kicker and punter. Our kicker and our punter, I think, are the only people that don't have some sort of competition, man. And so that's a good place to be because then we got people really coming out and giving their best instead of acting like they're entitled to it, man. The nation has earned having a good season, and that's exactly it, champ. um I really think that they've put in the work, and not only have we dealt with just so much adversity over the last couple years, man, with like the Henry Ruggs stuff, the John Gruden stuff, the Josh McDaniel stuff, the Derek Carr stuff, the stuff. It's just been like one thing after another. And it's like right now we're finally in a spot where like we have the coaching staff that like I really, really believe in, right? And that the team really, really believes in. We got the players on the offense and the defense, right? We got our lines like set up, man. We got playmakers on the offense, we got playmakers on the defense. Um it's like we have everything except for the big name QB. And I really think that that's why there's such an emphasis from all these different networks, all these different content creators of Oh, I don't know about the Raiders, right? Because the QB position, we don't have that big name. But like I've said it before, man, I don't really believe that we need a superstar QB to win. I don't, I think what we really need is somebody who's not going to make stupid turnovers. I think we need somebody that's going to show up in the red zone, which Aiden O'Connell has proven that he can show up in that red zone, right? Um, I really think that if he works on his pocket awareness a little bit and moving around in the pocket, he's going to be able to make those plays. If he's avoiding sacks, right, getting the ball off quicker instead of getting sacked 6 times by Khalil Mack, right, which he showed at towards the end of the season, he had way less turnovers. His touchdown turnover ratio was great. And he wasn't getting sacked nearly as much, right? And so with a full offseason, I fully anticipate that he's going to come in and he's going to be getting the ball off quick. I don't think he's going to be making nearly as many turnovers. And, if he's keeping the ball safe, getting the ball down the field, and getting some touchdowns, I don't think it needs to be any kind of crazy numbers. I don't think that he needs to throw for 40, 50 touchdowns. I think if he can throw for about 30 touchdowns, even 25, right? 25, 30 touchdowns. I think that we stand a great chance, man. This defense is going to be able to hold teams down on the scoreboard, and if we can keep our defense from being on the field the entire game, man, how many times have we seen it over the last couple of years, man, where, it's like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Defense is on the field again. Defense is on the field again. And what happens when you do that is your players start to get injured. They're tired. By the end of the game, they're not being able to stop the ball anymore. So maybe, it's still a close game. So nobody's worried. It's still a close game. And then we get to that fourth quarter. That defense has been on the field, for twice as long as our offense. And all of a sudden they're exhausted and they're just not being able to stop the ball anymore. And that other team's going to start putting up points, man. Let's see. Especially the lifers such as myself, the ones who have stuck with the Raiders through thick and thin. Exactly, man. Like, how many times have we sat there and supported the Raiders, um, and then just having a losing season, man, and then next year we love the Raiders. We're having a losing season. I mean, I first became a fan in 2001. And at that time we were winning, right? And it wasn't because we were winning, and I've talked about it in other videos, but it's because of a family that took me in when I was in high school, man. And they were from LA. They had moved out here. They were big Raiders fans, and it was just such a great experience, man, watching games with the family, man. But yeah, I mean, we went and we lost in the Super Bowl against Gruden, and then just the years after that, things just got so weird, man. And I want to be able to watch the Raiders win a Super Bowl in my lifetime, man. It's one thing that, okay, at least I've gotten to see us get to the dance, right? But I want to see us win. My 2 cents, 40 plus years as Raider Nation, man. Yeah, so so you've been watching since the 80s, and that was the last time that we won, was in the 80s, man. It's about time, man. It's about time. And I think that we're in the right trajectory, right? And I don't know if we have it this year. I believe that we could win it. I really do. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. What I do know though is we're finally headed in the right direction. So as long as we're not having some weird scandal where emails are getting leaked or something weird happens, we lose our coach, or we start losing some of our star players, then I think we're gonna be all right, man. I think we're headed in the right place. Let's see. I think we have exactly what we need: a solid quarterback and a solid supporting cast on both sides of the ball, and a hell of a head coach and front office. And that's really what it comes down to, right? Is like we have the proper coaching in place. Luke Getsy, we're gonna really see. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams both speak very highly of Luke Getsy, right? So I think that he could show up and be that guy. But just having a solid quarterback who's not, because how many teams have had a superstar quarterback, but they don't have the supporting cast, right? That's the whole excuse for Shador Sanders and why they have a losing record there in Colorado, right? Is that, oh, well, he's a great quarterback, but he line, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that, but like that's the same excuses that used to go out for Derek Carr, right? Derek Carr doesn't have a number one receiver. Derek Carr doesn't have a defense. And I would rather have it the other way where we have an offensive line, we have a defense, we have receivers, we have man, it's looking like I'm having some issues in this room today, man. My Wi-Fi is getting all weird. My light went out. I don't know what's going on, man. I'm gonna have to figure out what's really going on in here. The weather's nice and stuff, so I don't know what's going on, man. We'll see. We'll see. Um, if I start getting too weird, man, start hitting me in the chat and being like, "Hey, man, you're glitching up." See, AP came out of the womb, got smacked in the ass, and gave the doctor the finger and yelled, "Raiders!" California Dave, man. It's hilarious, man. Glad you made it today, man. Glad you made it. See, I was born a Raiders fan 47 years ago this coming Monday, man. 47 years. Congratulations, champ, bro. 47 years. That is we were talking about trips around the sun, man. And not a lot of us get to live this late in life, man. Growing old is a privilege, right? And I didn't realize that when I was younger, man. I really thought like, oh, growing old is this awful thing, and it's not, man. It's such a privilege to be able to be on this planet for as long as we have, because not everybody gets to do that, and there was a time where I thought it was like kind of glorified to die young, and that's not what I want to do, man. I want to be here and have the full experience, man. I want to be here for my kids, man. I don't want my kids trying to navigate life and figure it out without me. I want to be able to help guide them as they grow older, as they get through high school, as they, become an adult. I want to be able to be there for guidance and to help them, man. Like I see it happen too often, man, where, you know, um, people don't have that help from their parents, man. And I don't get it, man. I don't get it because, you know, um, that's like my primary job, right? As a parent, to make sure that they start off on a better foot than I did, right? And then I want them to help their kids start off on a better foot than they did, right? Because if we keep progressing this, then down the line, somebody's gonna be able to, instead of starting at zero, they're gonna be starting up here. And instead of entitlement, it's like, okay, take what you have here and earn further. Don't settle here, man. Don't settle here. Keep growing, keep moving forward. See, dude, that year I really wanted that team to see the playoffs no matter what happened because they earned that with Ruggs, Gruden players, and time again. Asleep at the wheel, John Madden, just awful. You know, um, yeah, dude, like that year hurt, man. We started off on fire, and just to see like, with everything happen with Ruggs and Gruden and things start falling apart, and it was just like, Derek Carr was actually making a comeback from his injury for once, because after that injury, he was just never the same, right? And just watching that kind of play out, and it was like we were a solid team, man, and just for it to just not, it just didn't click, man. We just didn't get it, man. And I really think that without all that drama, right, without the Henry Ruggs, without Gruden, it's like I think that we legitimately had a shot that year. And so that was the last time that I really felt like, I don't know, man, like we were really headed in the right direction, right? And things have been shaky since then, man, with Josh McDaniels and this whole, I did not like that from the get, man. Did not like it right away. Grew up in sea chicken country when they played in the AFC West too. Fools made me wear it and I wore it well. Dang, man. Yeah, man. With the Seahawks, right? Billy Davis, Raiders since '84. Let's go, man. See, I'm like the baby in here, man. 2001, dude. I'm the baby in here. Oh man. Yeah, true Raiders are all lifers, and that's exactly it, man. And I never had a team before the Raiders. I kind of bounced around. I liked players, right? Um, before I became a Raiders fan, and one of the things that got me, man, was some of the players I really liked were Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, Randy Moss. Um, and they ended up all being Raiders, right? Well, Tim Brown was always a Raider, but um and another player that I really used to like was Deion Sanders, man, prime time. And so like to see now that like there's almost like this glimmer of like, well, what if Deion Sanders and his kid end up over here on the Raiders? Like that could be interesting, man. That really could be interesting. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, man, once I landed on the Raiders, man, it was just like this is home. This is where home is, man. And I haven't considered another team since, man. Not even close. Let's see, a fan since 98, 25 years ago, man. That's what's up, Anthony. So I'm still the baby, but not by as far as a margin. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that, man. Let's see, California Dave, my 2 cents. I still think of the Seahawks as rivals, but I loved Cortez Kennedy. You know, it's weird how like the rivalries for the Raiders have really changed over the years, right? Because there was the Seahawks being in our division, and then the whole thing with the Battle of the Bay with the Niners, and some people really hold on to that rivalry strong still. And then like I mean, honestly, for me, like I'm not even tripping on that rivalry anymore because we're not in the Bay anymore. So it's just kind of like whatever. Um, but that's just me personally. I've seen some other content creators that are from out in that area and they still hold on to that strong. But for me, like with the Super Bowl, right? I felt like that was worst case scenario for the Chiefs to plant that flag in our field. And it was a lose-lose situation for us, but I would have rather the 49ers had it because now the Chiefs, I mean, they're in our division, man. I'm sick of them owning the division. Man, the other day I was at the gas station, man, and I ran into this dude. I mean, granted, he looked super duper high, right? But he was wearing a Raiders shirt and a Chiefs hat. And I was just like, man, like some people were so confused. So confused, man. There's no way you'll ever see that. And I don't make them bets where, you got to wear the other team's jersey and things like that, man, because I'm not trying to have any pictures out there, man. I'm not. California Dave has seen all 3 Super Bowl victories, man. Congratulations to you, man. That's amazing to be able to witness. Like I can only imagine what that feels like, because I remember that feeling, and I was a pretty new Raiders fan, because my first year was the Tuck rule, right? I still got resentments about that, but just to see the Raiders make it to the Super Bowl was such an amazing feeling, man. And just to watch it fall apart hurt so bad, man. It hurt so bad. So like at this point, right now, over 20 years later, I could only imagine how that could feel, to get there and win, man. That's only something in my imagination, and that's not right, man. That shouldn't have to be something that's in my imagination, right? That commitment to excellence, right? The whole just win, baby. It's like, I'm sick of it being like people making fun of us because of those sayings, because it's like, commitment to being trash and, never win, baby. And I've heard all kinds of stuff, man. And that's, I hate it. I hate it. See, that's how I became a fan. I bet my allowance the Raiders would beat the Vikings. Man, that's legit, man. That's what's up, man. Let's see. My 2 cents. Me too, Kelly Dave. Me too. Oh my God, the noise I heard after they won a ship. Can't wait for Raider Nation to have that feeling again, man. Man, I know, dude. 56-ish, huh? California Dave. I like ish. T Champ, retiring in 3 years at 58. I've owned my drywall business since 1998. Good for you, man. It's 3 more years, man. I still got, oh, God. I don't even want to think about that. I got like 23 years left on my sentence. 23 years left, man. But, at that point, I'll be retiring with a pension, and that'll be good, man. Start thinking about the future. Let's see. California Dave, man. I didn't know you were in recovery, man. Congratulations, man. It's been 12 years for me, man. 12 years. Mine's in October, though. October. Let's see, man. Let's see. Dang, I'm far behind on the chat. I didn't even realize, man. You're either born a Raiders fan or either made to like the team from the state you live in, like I was, the Jets, or you become a Raiders fan later on. And for me, man, New Mexico doesn't have a team. So over here, the games that air, it's always Broncos and Cowboys, man. So we have a lot of transplants that come out here from LA. So we basically have Broncos fans, Cowboys fans, and Raider fans, right? Those are like the three biggest teams in our state. And then there's a couple of people that dabble with other things, but for the most part, those are the three majorities. James Furpo, welcome, man. Welcome, Raiders. Let's go, man. Let's see, Howie Long. Did you guys see that thing about Howie Long where he was talking about how he wishes that he could play for this Raiders team that's going into this season now with Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins and Antonio Pierce? That was a big one, man. I can't believe I haven't talked about that. Let me see. I wonder if I can find it real quick, man. I hate to look up stuff when I'm already on, man. Let me see. I think I found it. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and share screen. I haven't read this. Disclaimer, I have not read this yet. I just pulled it up. So, don't judge me too bad. Let me see, man. It says Raiders legend Howie Long excited about new era of Raiders football under coach Antonio Pierce. This came out on the 27th of June. Raiders legend Howie Long is excited about the culture being built by coach Antonio Pierce for the Las Vegas Raiders, expressing a wish to suit up again for the team due to the refreshing changes. Long highlighted Pierce's authentic connection to the team's history and the focus on creating a new identity and culture for the Raiders. Let me see. There's some other stuff in here. This is bottom line. Howie Long's enthusiasm for direction under Antonio Pierce showcases the positive impact being made on the team's culture and future prospects, inviting former players to dream of returning to be a part of this revitalized era. And that's all I'm going to read on that, man. But that's just like such a beautiful thing to hear, right? Because Howie Long is Howie Long, man. And for him to really just wish and dream about being able to play for this Raiders team, that's such a beautiful feeling because that means that he sees it, right? He sees that old Raiders mentality and grit and culture coming back, and I mean, I'd be willing to bet that he hasn't felt that way in years, because it's been years that we've gone this other direction, towards the end of Al Davis's life. He just kind of, the NFL kind of passed him by, things changed. And Mark Davis came in and he's not Al, he's not Al. And so he's been trying to search for this. He's been trying to search for what we have now, and it's finally been found. I got this guy. At my work, he's a 49ers fan, man, and he loves to talk shit about Antonio Pierce, man. And I think it's that I think he doesn't like it because the Raiders are finally finding their footing, right? Because he loves to make jokes about like how basically, oh yeah, the Niners are going to be in the playoffs this year. What about your team? And da da da. And it's like, bro, like come on, dude. And now he's focusing on Antonio Pierce, and that tells me that he's threatened by him, man. You know, and that's a beautiful thing to hear, man, because yeah, don't like our coach, man. That means that you got a problem with him, because why is he living rent free in your head, right? um why? Let's see. California Dave, I'm surrounded by Titans fans, but here in Tennessee it's mainly college football, Vols and Bama. Oh yeah, yeah, the big college football stuff out there, man. The Volunteers, right? That's what's going on. Yeah, it's a trip. Like some places are so huge into college football, man. Um, here in New Mexico, man, we got the Lobos and the Aggies, and nobody gets too crazy about it. There's a couple people like my father-in-law. He's a big Lobos fan, but besides that, I don't know a lot of people that really support that much because it's very small football, man. I mean, Brian Urlacher came out of here, but besides that, there's really there's not a single other name I can mention that came, into the NFL from New Mexico, right? Except for well, that's the NBA, but Luke Longley for the Chicago Bulls, their center in the 90s, he came out of the Lobos, man. Anthony. Man, can't wait for this season. Watch them hopefully go to a couple of games, go hang out with the nation at this bar called 28 West Sports Bar. Bro, and I tell you it's a Raider bar on Sunday, it's a Raider. That's legit, man. Yeah, we don't got any spots like that out here at all, man. So that's cool that you guys got something like that. It always surprises me, man, to find out, because every time I go up to Colorado, I wear my Raider stuff, man. Every time I'm in Denver, I make sure to wear my Raider stuff. And I see a lot of other Raider fans out there, right? Which is surprising because that's where the Broncos are, right? But I love to see that kind of stuff, right? Because people aren't just going for the home team. They're going for what's in their hearts, man. If people hate AP, he says Raiders. And that's one of the things that like they talk shit on, right? It's like, he's just a hype man and all this and that, whatever, right? And it's like, you know what? He doesn't have to be the X's and O's guy. What he is really doing is he's putting the right people in place around him, and he's building the culture. He's getting people bought in, right? So if that's a hype man, cool, I'll take it, because it's working. It's really really working, man. I don't have any doubts about Antonio Pierce as a coach at all. Honestly, every coach at some point was somebody who didn't have the resume, who didn't have the experience, right? Right now, that's just where AP is. I honestly believe that AP is going to be one of those guys that we talk about in Raider Nation for years to come, right? If he's not the guy that got us back to the glory land, right? If he's not the guy that gets us another trophy, then he's going to be the guy that led us towards that direction, right? I honestly believe that, man. My 2 cents. Always easy to kick someone when they're down. Once Raiders back in the saddle, the fools will all claim the silver and black. Man, there's so many bandwagon fans. It's unbelievable. Like, you ever see anybody wearing Patriots gear anymore? Because there was several years there where it's like everywhere I went, man, I saw somebody wearing something from the Patriots. And I don't see that anymore at all. At all. Like, once Tom Brady left and they figured out, oh, we're nothing without him, it's like they all disappeared, man. They all went into hiding. See, when I was still on the East Coast, I did a lot of work in Massachusetts and constantly wore my Raiders gear. The Patriots fans Did not appreciate that, but they still paid up, sucker. Man, that's crazy, man. And yeah, I mean, maybe out there on the East Coast, maybe there's still a lot of Patriots fans, but as far as New Mexico and any of the states I've been in the last couple of years, I don't remember ever seeing anybody in Patriots gear ever since Tom Brady left the Patriots. Man, I can't remember it. Raiders Rebel, what's up, man? There's a nice Raider bar here in Northwest Arkansas. That's legit, man. Yeah, Patriots fans are all Chiefs fans now. Exactly. Exactly, man. That's how they roll. And then when the Chiefs start to be a bust, right, and they stop winning, they're going to roll on to the next one, man. That's just how it's going to be, man. See, Raiders Rebel. I live and work in Northwest Arkansas. There's Chiefs fans everywhere, and they hate when they find out I'm the Raiders fan. But it's kind of hard to miss that with a big tattoo. That's what's up, Raiders Rebel, man. See, honestly, AP was the man for the job. He's a hyped, expiring father to all of those in the locker room. A mentor, brought the Raiders back. McDaniels was like a strict father that nobody liked. Dude, McDaniels was like so out of touch with what was actually happening in his locker room. It's like insane. It's like it's the same thing. Whereas like you could just see him on the sideline, like thinking he's the smartest person in the building, and he's getting played, man, and his plays are just not executing, and he would just like look confused, like he didn't understand why is this not working. It's like because they already figured you out, man. They already figured it out, and you're the last one to know, and he just wasn't. He was just so out of touch, man. See, I charge way more when I pull up in the Chiefs flag outside. I know they're Chiefs fans. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Let's see. I've always said, champ. I've always said that Josh McDaniels is too nice because he's a really nice guy. Yeah, I've had supervisors like that, man, where they just kind of like they're afraid to say what needs to actually be said in the proper way. And I got taught this thing a long time ago. It's say what you mean what you say, just don't say it mean, right? And when somebody is assertive and direct, like people respond to that, right? I respond to that. But when somebody is very like, oh, hey, you guys, like, we should, it's just like people have no respect for that. You just like people would say, Josh McDaniels was not a leader of men. He's not, man. Antonio Pierce has that presence, right? Where it is felt. If we feel it out here, imagine what they're feeling in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? That's legit. All right. He's asking Raider Rebel if that bar has other teams that go watch the team. Queefs don't go there. Queefs don't go there, and that's what's up, man. And we're coming up on an hour, guys, man. I'm just trying to get some consistency back. I'm gonna be going live every Tuesday, and that'll be in the nighttime. It'll be 7:30 Mountain Standard Time, which is what 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern Time. I know it's a little bit late, but I work a 10-hour shift on Tuesdays, man. But we're gonna continue doing the Taco Bout Raiders Tuesday live, and we're going to continue doing the TGI Raiders Friday live. I'm going to make sure, and I keep trying to plot out like, what time we're going to go live, and then it just never seems to work out perfectly. I'm going to try to go live right about the same time, so just keep an eye out for it. I'll post it in advance like how I do. That way you guys can see, okay, it's scheduled. This is going to be the time. And that's just where it's going to be, man. So definitely shout out to you guys, man. I'm glad you guys were in the building. Can't do this without you. If you have not yet, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe. Trying to get to 500 before the preseason starts. Let's see if we can make that happen. I definitely love Raider Nation, man. I will see you guys on the next one.